no doubt her parents beat her to death.
McGuire said the beating started in the garage, then moved to the basement.
Tiffany, Gail's father and stepmother are now on trial for first-degree murder.
Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a story coming out of Brampton, but this story is very fucking gruesome. It's very dark. It's very, it's going to be disturbing for some people. So, if you can't handle these type of topics, I suggest you come out the video from now. But before we get into the meaty part of the story, I want to remind you guys to follow my Instagram at Talk the Things with 2 Z's. And on there, you can suggest cases. We can talk about episodes that are already up. Anything you want to let me know or anything like that, you can just DM me on that page. And it might take a little bit for me to get back to your message, but believe me, I see them. It's just bare messages I have to go through. So yeah, hit me up on that page, Talk the Things with 2 Z's. But getting into this story, it happened in Brampton and it happened a little bit ago. It happened in 2009. But we're going to be talking about a young girl by the name of Tiffany Gail. She was 15 at the time that she died. And the story goes is that she moved from Kingston to Brampton in 2009, and she lived with her father and her stepmom. Now, her stepmom is the one that I believe that sent for her, or her father. It could have been both of them, but I think I seen a report that said the stepmom is who sent for her. So she lived with her father, her stepmom. She had an older stepsister that she lived with, and a younger little bro. But the thing is, she had her real sister that was older than her that was living there. But after 5 weeks of living there, she got sent back to Jamaica. So you guys remember that because we're going to be talking about that a little more in the story. So now I want to move on to just how her living at that house was, because it wasn't no nice living that she was living there. She was always being abused. She wasn't allowed to call her mom back home, which is a weird thing because you would think that you bring her up to Canada, for better life or whatever it is, you would want her to still communicate with her mom. She wasn't allowed to call her mom. That was a big no-no. She also couldn't have no friends or no boyfriend. She couldn't go to school events. She couldn't do nothing. Her parents were a 7-day Adventist, and I don't think that has nothing to do with them being so strict, but they were really they were hard on her, man. They weren't nice people. She also wound up writing some letters that was found after her death of her writing down of how her parents, her step parents, and her real dad was just treating them. She would say she's so sad that she has to live like this, and she's always making everybody sad in the house, and she wish she can be happy. And I'm not gonna really read the notes, but I'm gonna put them up so you guys can look at them, pause, and read them. But one day, and this is allegedly, we don't know the real reason, but one day we think that Tiffany wound up calling her mom back home. Now, remember, she wasn't allowed to do this, but she still wound up calling her mom back home, and it looked like she got caught. So when she got caught, now her parents started to beat her. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but she was always being abused. That house was just fucking crazy, bro. Those parents were always abusing her, always licking her. They say they beat her with belts. So abuse was nothing that was this would have never been the first time that she got licked, which I think is kind of crazy because it's one thing for your dad to lick you, but for your stepmom to lick you, it's kind of crazy. I don't think she has that authority. I don't think she has that right. Also, a lot of people that come from Jamaica that come up with their stepmom do not agree with the stepmom, or they don't agree. Some people never had it like that at all, but a lot of people don't agree with their stepmom. And the other case that I did on my podcast talking about a youth that came up from Jamaica, the stepmom did the same thing, kill off the little boy. And if you guys never heard that story, go watch that one. That one was just as bad as this one, almost worse. But anyway, they caught her making that phone call and winded up bringing her into the garage, and they were just beating on her. They were beating on her with all type of stuff. They used not garage, excuse me, barbecue tools, like the barbecue brush tongue, like the sharp stuff that you use and jerk chicken. And that's what they're using and beating her in the garage. They beat her so bad to the point where she had to lean up against the wall, and her bloody handprint was on the wall, showing that she was like backed in a corner, putting up her hands, trying to defend herself, and was holding on to the wall. But because her getting so abused, they were beating on her so much, she was screaming so loud, they winded up moving. So they pick her up and they had her walk down the hallway with bare blood traces in the hallway, and it went all the way down to the basement into the bathroom. Now, once again, it might be a little gruesome what I'm about to say, so this is a warning. But they were beating her so bad down there now in the bathroom in the basement, that her body fat body fat was being all over the ground, and blood was being like just pour out on the floor. How hard do you have to beat a person for their body fat to be on the ground? Body fat? And I have the actual pictures here, and they're gruesome still. So take your time with them. But after this, they wound up picking up her body. She was still alive, and she was only in a bra and a t-shirt, I think one report said. And they put her into the bathtub. I just left with you. You guys see the pictures of the bathtub? They put her in the bathtub, wind up dumping water on her. They douse her up with water and just left her there to die. And that's what happened. She wound up dying not too long after this. Now it looked like they started to try clean up because there was blood on them. But I think they had like they took out the shower curtain, right? And I'm gonna show that picture now. And they put the shower curtain in the sink. I think they were trying to wipe up some of the blood on the floor. And I have two news clips I want to play for you guys. It was so hard to get these news clips because there's this new thing with the government where they're blocking certain news clips and certain news article you can't find. I don't know what type of government we have running our country, bro. But even on Instagram, I can't go on Gleaner, I can't go on certain website. That's besides the point, bro. I'm gonna play you guys the two news clip, and I'm gonna be back with my thoughts.
There is no doubt her parents beat her to death. That is what the Crown argued today in closing statements at the murder trial of 15-year-old Tiffany Gail. Arthur Pohl has the latest from court and a warning: some of the images you're about to see are graphic.
The Crown pointed his finger today at Frederick and Elizabeth Gail, saying whether or not both were wielding the weapons, it's his belief the couple both killed 15-year-old Tiffany. Brian McGuire told the court each of them is responsible legally for what the other is doing. They're acting as a team. The couple is accused of using a baseball bat and a barbecue tool as weapons in the murder. McGuire said the beating started in the garage, then moved to the basement, and the final blows were delivered in the bathtub. Referencing dents in the tub, he told the jury, "How hard that person was swinging boggles the mind." Tiffany was just 5'4" and 115 pounds. Her lifeless body was discovered in the tub in June 2010. It's alleged the parents tried to cover up the crime, cleaning up blood, but spatter was found on the clothing of both the accused, and their bloodied footprints were found at the scene. As for motive, the Crown says there's no rational reason for the killing, but evidence presented shows the teen was in conflict with her parents. In notes, Tiffany wrote she didn't want to be in this world anymore because she causes her family too much pain, saying, "I hate to see my parents angry, but I guess there's nothing I can do." Tiffany's sister testified the parents planned to send her back to Jamaica. She had apparently broken a house rule to not make phone calls. The Crown later told the jury neither of these two people lifted a finger to help Tiffany Gail, asking why one wouldn't help their daughter unless what's happening to her is what you intended.
She was beaten to death and left lying in a tub in her parents' basement. Tiffany Gail's father and stepmother are now on trial for first-degree murder. Here's Arthur Pohl now with what a pathologist told the court about the teen's injuries today.
It's a memory Samantha Gail is trying to forget, the murder of her younger sister, Tiffany. Today, Samantha recalled a conversation she had with her dad a month and a half ago. She testified he asked her to change her police statement about the murder, saying he want me to cover for him. Samantha says Frederick Gail wanted her to alter what she had said about why she was shipped back to Jamaica just 5 weeks after moving here with Tiffany and their brother. But she says she told him, "My sister died and I need to know the reason why, so I'm not going to cover for anyone." Frederick and his wife Elizabeth are charged with first-degree murder, accused of beating 15-year-old Tiffany Gail to death in June 2010. Investigators believe the pair used a baseball bat and barbecue utensil. Tiffany was found in this tub in their Brampton home. Her blood was found on the parents' clothing and a shower curtain in the sink, and faint traces of blood were found all over the floor. Police allege they tried to clean up the mess after the deed was done. A pathologist testified today that the teen was struck about a dozen times, suffering from fractures, cuts, and significant bruising. The pathologist says she was so badly beaten that blood and fat globules were found spattered at the scene, saying to actually disrupt fatty tissue under the skin takes a significant amount of force. Yesterday, Tiffany's sister told the court Her dad beat her with a belt back in Jamaica, but she says she threatened to call 911 when he tried to hit her here in Canada in 2009.
All right, so you guys just heard those two news clip. Now, I had a few things I want to say about this. The first thing was, why did you bring them up here? In like what was the reason? Because they said that the stepmom, excuse me, and the little girl never agree. But how bad could it have been? You know what I mean? From what everybody said, the 15-year-old Tiffany that wound up passing was a reserved girl. She wasn't like a youth that gave trouble or nothing like that. So what could have what all she did was call her mom allegedly, and you guys killed her for this. I don't know if it's bad mind from the stepmom that, like, this is my new man's kids that he had with somebody else. But why did you still bring them? I just don't understand why you brought them. You married a whole man knowing that you had kids. Enough of them, you brought one of them up before and sent them back. That's the next thing. Why did you guys send the next one back but keep this one? If this one was giving so much talking, Tiffany, why did you just send her back home? Why did you keep her here, abuse her like that, and then kill her in the way you guys did? Bro, I'm not asking you. I'm not asking nothing. Nothing could have caused them to deal with her like that. There's no excuse. But I realized that there's a thing with that. Even in the last case, that nasty bitch, she came and she brought up the little boy and beat him till the man had teeth in his stomach and made him yam his vomit. Why are they doing this to the youth that they bring up from Jamaica? And I have a next case I'm gonna drop after this. That one is even fucking worse, bro. It gets worse. And I just don't understand why you guys bring your youth. And then even in Jamaica, though, enough people talk about it that they don't want to send up their kids to Canada to go live with no stepmom because of stories like this. Because of stories like this. Now it kind of cool off in recent day, but the latest one I believe that happened like this was like 2012, and the earliest one I did was back in 1998. My whole point is don't bring up nobody's kids if you're gonna deal with them like that. If you're not a loving person and you don't want to make a wholesome family and bring them up here for a better life, don't bring them. Don't bring the pitney them. I just don't understand. Like nobody's forcing you to do that. Is the man forcing you to do that? Maybe. But you have like leave them like I don't know, bro. I don't know what goes through people's head, but I want you guys to let me know what you think about this situation. Oh, by the way, I don't go through the whole trial and stuff like that. But the two bitches, they got sentenced to life. But you know how life stay. Life isn't really life. In Canada. It's not like that how it is in the US. So they'll probably be out soon. I don't even know. I don't care about them still. But there's some fuck up people and they should have dead because you can't do something like that to a pitney and think that that's okay. You know what I mean? It's different when it's a child that can't defend it. When you get bigger and you're on the road and you're in beef doing your whole thing, that's the next story. But you know what I mean? I don't know. This case just pissed me off. And the next case I'm researching right now that I'm about to drop after this one pissed me off even more. So you guys let me know what you think about the situation. Keep the discussion going down below. And we will talk next time on Talk the Things podcast.